Those suffering cannot know peace, and those at peace cannot know suffering. Think about that. Those suffering cannot know peace, and those at peace cannot know suffering. Meaning, your state of mind is determined beforehand. All of the factors that create the state of mind that are dominating you right now, it's not just something you upped and wanted to do. It's a combination of factors that allow that to take place. So that when you are suffering, you actually don't know peace. Go back and think about that in terms of your spouse. When you're arguing with your spouse or significant other, they're in the mood to argue. And you say, well, just forget about it. Don't worry about it. Well, they're not hearing you because they're in the mood to argue. The same thing when the roles are reversed. You want to argue and they don't. It's no different than telling someone to calm down. Some of you know I manage physical security, and one of the things that when I train my team, I say never tell someone to calm down. Have you ever in your life gotten someone to calm down by telling them to calm down? Of course, the answer is no, because they're in a frame of mind that does not allow that to work. It's the same thing with happiness, contentment, and generating or fostering the perfect state of mind. You have to, once you generate that state of mind, it's honestly a different state of mind, so that the opposite state of mind they don't understand each other. That's why when you're happy, you say to the whole world, hey, you're not going to get me down because I'm feeling good. And of course, what that means is if you're in a state of inner peace, you're not going to be bothered. Apply this to your journey. You do the work to rebuild your life. And what do? You run into all of the obstacles with trying to change your mind. And this is why the more I counsel people, the more I address them, and I find out some people aren't helpable because they can't generate the necessary state of mind that rejoices in self-sufficiency. And of course, self-sufficiency is happiness. And needing things is the opposite of happiness. When you need something, you're never happy. And that's why when you were a kid and the present time came around, Christmas time came around, turkey time came around, Halloween came around. All of those things you didn't recognize were not happiness. You thought they were happiness. And what did you learn from that? It took you a long time, but you finally realized that's a state of wanting, even if it makes you feel gratified for a while. Same thing with your food. So how do you generate the perfect state of mind so as to allow your fasting to remain permanent and without needing motivation? Number one, decide right now is perfect. This is the hallmark of everything. Decide that right now is perfect. If you're watching this in bed and you're cold and you're thinking, I want to go and turn up the thermostat, then say to yourself, right now is perfect. I don't need to be any warmer. If you are driving around when you're hearing this or listening to this and you decide, you know what, I want to stop and get that diet Gatorade at the store, say, no, water's just fine. If you are saying, well, I need to, apply for this job so I can get a better job, say, no, this job is fine. Even if it's stacking boxes, it's fine for now. Maybe I'll get it, maybe I won't. When you can say right now is perfect. If you're sitting Indian style and you need to reposition, you say, I want to sit on the couch, it's more comfortable. Say, no, I'm fine right here on the floor. If you can do that, you can achieve happiness. You can achieve enlightenment. You can achieve the perfect state of mind. If you can't, then you're back in the wanting cycle and you're trying to make things perfect. Same thing with eating. Everything seems so clear when you decided to fast. You said, yes, I'm going to lose weight. Everything feels really good. And then later on, your mindset changed so that you started really wanting something. And then later in the day, you wanted to celebrate because you got done with your work, or your best friend's brother's cousin's roommate twice removed came into town. You decided to take him or her out. And you said, hey, now I don't want to have self-control anymore. What happened? What happened is you didn't have the perfect state of mind. What you did was you had a moment where things aligned to where it seemed to be, maybe you were full, you didn't want to eat. You didn't recognize that though. You thought that when you want something, you can go get it, which is never true. It doesn't happen that way. You don't go out seeking the road to clarity by wanting things. things. You don't say, when I get the right diet pill, when I get the right exercise machine, when I get the right car, things will be great. That's stupid. That's what you've run from all your life. You've always thought that if you got the right dress, the right clothes, you'll look better, you'll feel better. If you get surgery, you'll improve. How many of you have been to doctors for years thinking you could find out what was wrong? And ultimately, even if you had a surgery or a procedure, you started taking medicine and you realized, I don't feel any better than if I had just stayed on my own. That's exactly the problem you're dealing with. Happiness was never away from you. It's a state of contentment that says, yeah, everything is just great, sucking. You know, maybe you're not funny. Maybe you, and you want to be. Maybe you want to do a different career, but you really don't have any talent at that. Why does that have to matter? Why can't you be happy right now? No, it's not easier for me to say, because there's a lot of things about myself that I can definitely say this about. So that's the first principle to obtaining the perfect state of mind. Number one, decide right now is perfect. Number two, adjust your thoughts to not deviate as you do your daily tasks. So as you go about your day, remember, once that changes, you've betrayed what you were really feeling earlier. You should realize that you didn't really understand things. It's like when you say, I understand, but you don't really understand. You didn't, because that first premise, decide right now is perfect, is always got to be the way it is. You'll have opportunities to change and feel better, but feeling better and feeling worse they don't exist. They're just subjective. Number three, see the changes you want to see and continue. And then number four, see the changes you don't want to see and continue. Go back to your clothes. Those of you who are going through weight loss plateaus, yes, you're going to have 3 weeks sometimes where you don't lose weight. That's not an excuse to quit. That's seeing the changes that you don't want to see. The changes you did want to see was when you started to lose water weight. Obviously you want to see that. Did you really think you were going to just do everything great and everything was going to feel great all the time? You say, oh, I don't feel good. I feel cold. I don't feel adjusted. I don't have as much energy. Yes, those are all changes on the way to changing. And then number 5, be aware of how much time has passed. Remember, when you're suffering, you're not aware of how much time has passed. Because having fun and suffering always mess with time. When you're suffering, a second seems like eternity. And when you are having fun, time goes by like it isn't even there. Why is that the case? It's because it's all an illusion. It's not even a real thing. So what do? You start to realize how much time has passed. That's why you weigh once a week and you record it. Like I've said, if you're still losing weight. Why is that so important? It's important because you suck at tracking things. Everybody does. That's the way time is. That's the way we are with progress. You forget the fact that you've gone a week. So when it comes time to weigh yourself, you forget all the fact that you did lose some weight when you go to add it up. And if you actually gain weight, that's one of those changes you don't want to see. You're not owed a guaranteed change. Keep going. It's easier said than done though, right? Just like that argument we talked about with your spouse when you started. You start arguing, they want to argue, you've got to let it run its course like a cold. You've got to do that because that's the nature of life and change. And once you see that coming, it's not surprising. Once you see a craving generating either, you're looking at sugar, you're looking at chocolate frosting or something. You say, if I eat this frosting, I know I'm creating cravings later. That's wisdom. It's wisdom to avoid it. It's wisdom to be ready for it. It might be that you eat and you still have those cravings later. Do you see now how this works? Do you see? It's the fact that you can envision and cope with those things, which is really what gives you the ability to cope. And the worse you are at that, at seeing these things, the worse you are at working towards success. So the perfect mindset is to understand that right now is perfect. You'll change anyway, because that's the nature of life. You're going to change. You're going to get older. You're going to get less flexible. You're going to get more wise, but perhaps less quick. All of those things, when you expect them, you're not at war with them. You're not trying to work out all of these things in your head. You're not struggling. And of course, the idea here is to perfect the state of mind. If you are not following me on Gab, on Minds.com, and JoeHolmanOnline.com, please do so. We have a documentary coming out, Downsize Me, a 1 meal a day story. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. Details will be forthcoming. You guys have a great day.